Hi, folks. So it's Tuesday, May 15th. I just did the episode yesterday on measurements. I also shared a bit more of my story on Instagram. And what was cool was that I heard from a lot of friends who actually have herniated discs right now, and they're trying to figure out what to do. Um, some having actually C5, C6, others having like 3 or 4 levels in their lumbar. Crazy. I also got a random stranger who was actually searching the hashtag disc herniation or herniated disc or something, and had a question for me around what exercises I do. So he found my post, and he actually also has a C4, C5. So he's done a couple months of PT, and he hasn't really gotten too much out of that. And for the first time, he's heading in the gym, but he's kind of wondering, how am I still able to exercise? Well, just like physical therapy, I am not a big proponent of just staying stagnant or not doing anything, but it's instead about modifying exercises. So that's what I've been successfully able to do. And even though, yes, I have a little bit of pain, heck, I'll have pain a little bit right now, even earlier when I was just sitting there working at my desk. Uh, and sometimes in the gym, I might hurt a little bit, but the point is that right now I kind of hurt no matter what I do. So what I don't want to do is exacerbate that, but I also don't want to totally ignore the rest of my body, right? So I'm not saying, obviously, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not saying that you need to keep working out if you've got a similar problem or any other type of problem that, again, I don't know. Instead, it's trying to share with you a little bit more on how I've been able to keep working out and really what exercise, not so much what exercise that I do, as much as it is how do I modify those workouts. So, got my whiteboard. I love whiteboards, so I'm going to share with you a few ways that you can modify your exercises and your workouts and the like. Um, I'm not going to go into necessarily the science of everything, just because that wouldn't make sense right here. So, a few ways to modify. First, we can always think about weight, right? So, I'm actually going to call weight resistance, right? Because at the end of the day, you might not necessarily use weights, but you might use bands. So, I also have rubber bands and the like, so really thick ones where you can do some exercises. So, before, if I would do, for example, 265 on the bench press. Now I cut it way down to 185, 175. Right, so I've cut it quite a bit. In many exercises, I've cut, not only 50%, but all the way 75%. So I've really reduced a lot of that resistance. The other thing that you can also modify is volume. So volume really comes via two levers. The first one, let's say it is the sets, and then the second one being reps. So if I say I do a 3 by 10, that is 3 sets and 10 reps. So I've changed up quite a bit of the volume as well. Before, when I would have higher resistance or higher weights, I would do less volume. Now, because I'm actually reducing quite a bit of the weight, I'm actually increasing the volume a bit, but not getting to the point where I'm stressing my body or where, like, for example, the 10th rep, it's just too much, right? So I want to maintain everything here. You want to maintain proper form, right? So I'll do resistance, volume. I'll also change up what's called time under tension. And there are 3 levers here. The first one, let's say it's the concentric motion or move of an exercise. So think when I do, like, for example, a curl. My bicep is what's actually contracting. That's the concentric motion. And then you have the iso eccentric, so far. And so that's like if I was to hold like a bag of groceries and I'm just holding them up, right? So that is really the iso. And then the third piece is the eccentric. So that's when the muscle is actually extending or lengthening. So think when you're doing a bench press, for example, or a push up, your pecs are actually contracting. So you're actually able to push. And then the eccentric, you might actually lower the bar even slowly. So you're actually just having nice little control. So I will do a lot of decreasing resistance. I may increase the volume, but I'll also modify the time under tension. So a lot of times right now, I'm doing a lot of, I'll explain in a second, but really doing slower movements. I'm trying not to do so many quick movements, especially jerky ones, whether it's upright rows or any squats or anything like that. Really going super slow and not putting a lot of stress. I mean, when I played soccer, then of course I stopped a couple months ago. But what brought the most pain was when I had to do quick movements and everything else. So I'm not doing that anymore. So time and attention. So these are three big ones. Other ways to modify are isolated, isolation versus compound. So think compound lifts are like your bench presses, the squats, the ones that recruit multiple muscle groups, right? Isolation, obviously, isolated. So if I do a simple curl, that's pretty isolated. If I do pull-ups, that's actually recruiting many muscles, whether from your lats to your biceps to even forearms and everything else. So understanding that I've really focused a lot on understanding where or what type of compound lifts I can do without putting too much stress back here, and then really focusing on other parts of my body, whether it's like the legs and doing machine like leg curls or leg extensions, doing really isolated exercises. So that's really important. Um, and to that, because I particularly have a lot of pains, in my neck and you see even right there as I lift, but also my traps and then all the way to the shoulders. And I do feel weaker in the shoulders right now. I don't do anything from an overhead perspective really. So whereas before I might do, like 150 pounds, for example, on the shoulder press, standing shoulder press. Now I really use like a band that has a resistance of like 15 pounds or something. So really not doing much at all. I really don't even do pull-ups as well. So if I do any of like lats or the like, then I'll really concentrate on rows. And I could also do the lat pull downs, but I might not go all the way, but instead I'm going to stick to right here and then come all the way back. So, and then I'll kind of hold it a little bit more of the isometric holds there. And then, of course, one of the biggest kind of modifications, which in some ways was hard for me before, but it's really important so you don't overtrain, it is taking time off. That's always a really important one. So obviously, again, working out, great, exercising and the like, but if you need to take time off, take time off, right? I also built into not only just kind of taking time off, but backing off this kind of stuff even more. So if I do, for example, 4 weeks on, then I might then take that fifth week, or actually I do take that fifth week, or you might do the 4 weeks and do what is popularly called a deload week. So you might do 75% of whatever the working weight is. So whereas before, maybe if I did, let's say 250, and then because I've been hurt, I've modified it. So now I'm doing like 185
and I didn't make this math very easy for myself. So I'll do whatever 185 times 0.75 is. And then that would be my deload. Right? And then on a 10th week, at 10 week, then I might do a further 75%.
So I'll back that off a lot. That would be my DD load week.
So,
So hopefully that's helpful. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. I already got this question, which I thought was awesome because that's what this is all about sharing my experience and what has worked for me and what isn't working. And it's not a prescription. I'm not a doctor. Instead, it's just what's working. So that modifications, not being stagnant, but modifying and understanding your limits, and staying away from exacerbating pain and injury. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.